Which Oiler has the most pressure heading into the next season?
Which Oiler has the most pressure heading into 24-25?
Yep.
Well, a couple names immediately spring to mind. But as you know, I don't always like giving the most obvious answer, so I'm going to think while I'm talking.
Well, mine is probably the most obvious answer.
Okay, let's say it at the same time.
One, two, three.
Stuart Skinner. Okay. I mean, he's coming off.
There's no question.
He's coming off an off year. Some people think he's an off goalie. Some people are thinking, oh, you guys are idiots. He's actually a bad goalie. I don't believe that.
Neither do I.
If you look at his first couple of seasons in the league, he was pretty decent. I think my criticism of Skinner, or my comment of Skinner, would be his low end needs to be better. And that's sort of what we saw. I think he's become such a talking point for people. I try to look at everything fairly, and I feel as if there are some people who are really down on Stuart Skinner who refuse to acknowledge when he plays well. And when he came back, when Pickard got hurt, his first 7 or 8 games after that were really good. I mean, I know he lost a couple in there, but he had 3 shutouts. He played well in other games. So he has a high end. I think it's fair to say that you need to see his high end a little more often, and or his lower end needs not to be as low as it has been.
Agreed. Not
like you're pulled 5 minutes in the second period, not a 780 game, save percentage. I think we saw it, and I'm not saying he's maybe ever going to be as good as this guy, but I think he can be closer to this tier. I mean, even look at Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky got scored on in the Stanley Cup final. Bobrovsky even let in a couple goals where it's like, Nurse isn't supposed to score over his shoulder like that, Yeah. But for most of that series, Florida was leading, tied, or within a goal, and Bobrovsky was part of that.
Mm-hmm.
He kept things under control. He gave up costly goals. He got scored on in overtime a couple of times, but he always kept his team in it. And I think that's what you need from. I think that's the mark of good goaltending. It's not just the spectacular games, is that you keep your team in it on maybe when you're having an off night or they're having an off night. It's my old Kelly Rudy story. He played on a higher scoring era. 5-5 after 2. You're not playing great. Win a period. Get a 20-minute shutout. You walk out winning. You're not looking at your save percentage or your goals against average. You got the win. So I think Skinner, and plus now they've changed the goalie coach, right? I mean, there's been all this debate, Schwartz this. You change the goalie coach. Hopefully it's a different relationship. Maybe it helps Skinner. So now it's sort of, a lot of this is on the player.
And contract year.
Absolutely. Well, and that's a great point. You asked me about that last week. I mean, this could be the difference between a $5 to $7 million annual contract for Stuart Skinner to a $2 million
on a different team.
On a different team. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so we share the same opinion on who has the most pressure. Who would be second on your list, Reid?
I guess Bouchard came to mind just because he got the new contract.
Yeah, to me, that just lessens it.
But I think here's the thing. I think we kind of know what we're going to get from Bouchard. Yeah. And it's going to drive some people crazy, but he's going to produce points. He's going to help the power play. He's probably going to have 6 to 10 maddening nights during the regular season. And based on previous experience, he's probably going to be pretty good in the playoffs. But I would still say he's got to live up to that contract. So I would still have Bouchard on a list if I had a list. I would think there's going to be some pressure on Trent Frederick. I would think there's certainly going to be some pressure on another new guy, Andrew Mangiapane.
What about the youngest, the Savoy and Ike Howard? I mean, especially in terms of Ike Howard. I mean, right now I'm looking at Daily Faceoff. He's where they have him is on the first line wing with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman.
They have who there?
Ike Howard.
Yeah, that's outrageous to predict that at this point.
But I know that you're absolutely correct. But along with that comes pressure. Because obviously the people behind this, or, in the general sentiment once that signing has happened, was that, how many goals is he going to score? Oh, Calder Trophy. All this. is building up for a player who's never played in the NHL.
Well, I think there's some pressure. I'm not going to include Tomasek in this because I don't know what to expect from him. But they need Savoy and Howard to contribute. They don't need them to score 30 goals, but man, oh man, 15 could be nice. I mean, if you got 15 from Mangiapane, Howard, Savoy, and even Frederick, that's a nice little contribution from forwards, 5 through 8 or 6 through 9 that combine for 60 goals. That'd be pretty good. I think there'd be, to me, Skinner's number one. I think you'd have to put Kubusch up there.
I like that Trent Frederick one because he came in, he was injured the whole time.
Right.
And I still think he was dealing with that injury throughout the playoffs. And talk about a deal. I mean, that was the biggest eye-opener, jaw-dropper.
Yeah.
Hernan was ranting and raving about the no move and the term and the amount. Yeah, that's probably you could probably suggest that Trent Frederick might have as much.
That might be in the top three. That might be the top three: Stuart Skinner, Evan Bouchard, and Trent Frederick. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be great if these guys don't score, but if Matt Savoy winds up playing most of the year in Bakersfield, okay, you give him another year development. If Trent Frederick scores 8 goals, that's not going to be very good.
Yeah.
If it's November 30th and Matt Savoy has 3 goals and is on pace for an 8-goal season, you might say, okay, kid, you got to go to Baco and keep learning. I mean, I'm not saying that's be great because they need younger players to excel, but I think there's some pressure there. I think there's some pressure on Henrique. I think there's even pressure on Hyman to come back from the injury, and you'd love to have him score in the mid-30s again, but it's not the same level as some of the other guys we're talking about.
Is there pressure on Henrique? Because pressure means that you have expectations of this
that's
player.
A fair point. Maybe there's no expectations.
And I don't know what expectations you could actually
You'd
have.
like him to be more noticeable.
You would.
But okay, maybe he's just not going to be anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know. That's been a tough one for sure. What about Darnell Nurse? This is coming up. Penner's Pancake in the Nasty Chat says, I'm going with Nurse. He needs to quiet the critics.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
As in, you don't think he cares to quiet the critics? Or that he actually just...
I don't think his critics will ever be quieted. I think there's always going to be... And Dusty and I were talking about this, and it's an old conversation with Nurse. He's never going to produce a ton of points. He's never going to be your best offensive defenseman, especially now that they have Bouchard. He might not even get as many points as Walman.
Well, then be the best defensive defenseman.
Right.
That would probably quiet a lot of people.
Right. But is there, to me, extraneous pressure on Nurse more than usual? I don't think so.
Yeah, but it all stems from this contract.
Right, which isn't going away.
That's not going anywhere.
Which nobody in the NHL would have, 98% of players in the NHL wouldn't have turned it down.
Exactly.
So, again, it's...
If you want to be mad at somebody, you should be mad at his agent for doing such a darn good job.
It's getting a little bit of an old thing for me. Should they extend Walman? Would you extend Walman already?
Well, he's got one more year left at what?
3.4? I guess maybe you see how he plays.
I mean, you could... how does that work? Could you do that during the season?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if he comes off and he's having a good start to the year.
Yeah, if Walman has 20 points by the halfway point of the season, do you say we got to lock him up for a few more years?
But what does that mean, Reid? What does that mean to lock him up? Is that a 5-6 year deal?
He's 29. No, you'd probably try to get him for 3 to 5.
Right.
I mean, last year he had 40 points in 65 games. That's actually pretty good.
Right, but what valuation would you put that at? I mean, he's at 3.4 right now.
Well, yeah, then he might be looking for around $5 million.
If you could get him for 4 or say 5 years at $5 million, I think you'd take that and you'd lock it up. Because even if things fell apart, that's still a contract you could move.
Yeah, probably, especially if he keeps producing. Or maybe he's going to be thinking, "Oh man, I'm going to go to a team that's." I mean, not a lot of teams would have given Klingberg what he got 4, but he went to one of the worst teams in the league. So maybe Walman.
And what other team would you want to go to?
Well, yeah, I don't know him well.
You're on the team that's got.
But he's on the team that
really
he
good
just went
chance
to
of
the.
going.
I mean, he went from San Jose to Edmonton, which for him was a pretty good move mid-season.
Has a history with McDavid. They
Right.
played together.
Pender's Pancake says he would extend Walman 3 years times 5.5. That would be a fair deal, I think, with the cap going up.
Yep.
I mean, if he's a half a point per game defenseman, that's pretty valuable. Who apparently can play with a little sass, which we saw in the postseason.
I wonder if that happens before the season.
Probably not with him. They probably wait and see how he plays. I would guess. I mean, Bouchard had 67 points. Yeah, I mean, based on last year's stats for the full season, Walman would have been the Oilers' second highest scoring defenseman. And I wonder, too, if they tweak the power play or if the power play is struggling, if the change is Nugent Hopkins off, Walman on, and you have 2D.
I've been a fan of that since those words came out of your mouth. Because to be quite honest, I found that the value of Nuge on that power play has gone substantially down. His input has just simply not been there. And if you want to shake things up on that power play, yes, you could move Evan Bouchard around a bit. But if you have two shots like that at your disposal,
yeah,
why not?